great to be here again. Good to be at the CCC as every year.
First time for me.
First time for you. Then an extra warm welcome to the fabulous Chris Paget. I'm Karsten, and thank you. We want to discuss with you today the security of the most widely deployed security system in the world. That would be your cell phone. The GSM Association claims 4 billion users. That would be the majority of the world's population is using this technology. Many of those users, including many of you, rely on it every day for the privacy of phone conversations, text message, banking, and so forth. We think this security standard is too old to still be secure, and want to publicly demonstrate that one more time to give this the final nail in the coffin. The quick overview and also the motivation why we are doing this is that the perception of how secure this technology is seems to divert tremendously from the actual security. This is a very old technology. It has been in use for some 20 years, and nobody who knows computers would believe that a system that has never been upgraded in 20 years can still be secure. Yet this is being marketed as high security technology and being pushed into more and more applications, such as banking, where high levels of security are recommended. So we want to clarify this false perception of GSM security and show how weak it really is. As I said, this targets a lot of systems in most countries in the world, and we are not particularly happy about having so many potential victims of this attack. And we wouldn't be doing this research if it wasn't for these vulnerabilities already being exploited. We're certainly not the first to be able to decrypt GSM conversations, and the primary goal of all this research is to inform about this already going on. We do go the extra step of showing a public proof of concept, though, later on in this conference, to make very clear this is possible to be cracked with very little equipment, so that there's really no hiding place for GSM anymore. Mostly, as I said, to inform about this already being going on. Again, we are not at all the first to publicly declare GSM to be weak, too weak for its purpose. There's a long history of academics breaking the encryption function of GSM by the name of A51. It's almost like a game among academics to break it in your way after others have broken it in many other ways. However, all these attacks fall into one of two categories. They're either not applicable to GSM, they break its encryption function, but not as it is used in GSM, or they were never released. The tools were never released, or the data needed for the attacks was not released. So we want to add one more step in this long history of breaking A51 by actually releasing an attack tool that everybody can try at home, and as the last resort for somebody who really badly wants to inform about this being happening all the time. So, because while academics have tried to show that this is breakable for many years, industry is able to break A51, and fairly efficiently so. The machine on the bottom here sells for some $200,000 by manufacturer in India. It is an out-of-the-box GSM decryptor. So clearly all the highly valuable data that goes over GSM is already being intercepted, given that such machines can readily be purchased. Again, we just want to move this information into the open domain so everybody can try this at home. Other than just decrypt solutions, there's a whole bunch of equipment that you can buy on the open market to break different aspects of GSM. Decryption is just one of two main pillars of how you can circumvent these technologies. There are much cheaper attacks that are more active, that would interfere with the handset much more, but that are also much easier to set up. And before I make the point how easy it is to decrypt A51, given some tools we have written, I want to hand over to Chris, who will demonstrate how much easier yet it is, given readily available equipment, to listen in on people's cell phone conversations already.
So, as Karsten mentioned, there's two major families of attacks against GSM. There's active intercepts, where the equipment that we're running is an active base station. It's actively transmitting, it's encouraging phones to camp to it. We are actually broadcasting data to the phones. We have effectively our own cellular network. So I'm going to talk a little about these active attacks and then hand back to Karsten in a few minutes to talk a little more about some of the passive attacks and the crypto that's involved and some of the cryptographic results against the A5 functions. So essentially the way that GSM handsets find a network, there is a special beacon channel in GSM that the base stations advertise themselves on. So when the phone turns on, it listens to this beacon channel and looks for a network that its SIM card is authorized to connect to. When it finds one of these networks, it sends its IMSI. The IMSI is the International Mobile Subscriber Identity. You can think of it kind of like the GSM equivalent of a username. It's kind of a secret, kind of not. GSM supposedly replaces the IMSI with a TIMSI, a temporary mobile subscriber identifier, the moment that the handset has actually connected to the base station. So the theory behind that is that the IMSI is classified as kind of secret, so it's replaced by this completely non-secret TIMSI, which is then used in place of the IMSI from that point on. Now, the trouble with this scheme is that it's all based around two very simple numbers, the mobile country code and the mobile network code. The MCC is a 3-digit number, identifies the country that the network is claiming to be in. So 262 means Germany, the US uses 310 to 316. The MCCs are public. You can look them up on Wikipedia. Likewise, the MNC. Each operator within a country will have its own mobile network code. T-Mobile USA has a different mobile network code within the US MCC than it does within the German MCC. So these can be effectively regarded as a tuple. The beginning of the IMSI will actually be the mobile country code and mobile network code that the SIM was originally allocated on. So you can figure out from the SIM itself what network it's expecting to connect to, and then you can literally just claim that MNC and MCC. When your base station boots up, if you're advertising an MNC MCC of 26201, all the handsets in the area will say, hey, you're T-Mobile, I'm T-Mobile, you can handle my traffic. And they'll just camp to your base station and start sending you their traffic. It's that simple. The only real restriction on it is, well, the only technical restriction, this is completely aside from legal restrictions, obviously. The only technical restriction is that you have to be the strongest signal. If the phone sees multiple T-Mobile MNC MCCs being advertised, it will just camp to whichever gives it the strongest signal. It's